understand. I will quietly slip away from the noisy crowd when I see the pale stars rising, blooming over the oaks. I'll pursue the solitary pathways of the twilight meadows with only this one dream. You come too. I wanted green, green, green today. Someplace with no crowds and lots of lovely solitude. And I found it. I was planning to do a cemetery too, but I stayed in one place. I just needed to breathe. I looked at a map of the city and searched for a large green section. My eye was caught by Ponte Haute at the edge of Bois de Boulogne, which is huge. Across from the metro was Square des Poètes, a pretty little garden whose paths were decorated with busts of various French poets and strewn with little plaques engraved with their names, birth and death dates, and a line or two of poetry. The garden even had a free library. The books were all in French, of course, and a copy of Shadow of the Wind was in there, which I took to be an auspicious omen. Curious, I strayed past the square and found the gloriously beautiful Jardin des Hautes, with greenhouses made of green iron and glass, all in 19th century style. Topiaries, all sorts of plants from the world over, orchids, cacti, palm trees, vines, grasses, shrubs, everything you can think of. Manicured lawns, topiaries, flowers, benches everywhere. The Jardin des Hautes and Square des Poètes are actually on the periphery and are part of the larger Bois de Boulogne. Tennis fans might recognize the area as next to the Roland Garros Stadium. The Serre des Hautes is one of 4 botanical gardens maintained by the city of Paris and dates back to 1761, during the reign of Louis XV. The others are Parc de Bagatelle, the Parc Floral de Paris, and the Arboretum de l'École de Bruxelles. The beautiful greenhouses were designed by architect Jean-Camille Formiger and built at the end of the 19th century. Within them grow varied collections of plants from all over the world and from all sorts of climates, from the desert to tropics. These hothouses supply the approximately 100,000 plants and flowers which decorate the municipal offices all over Paris throughout the year. This is actually the formal entrance to the garden, with a terrace flanked by 2 curved paths. On the walls of the terrace are these utterly delightful silvery faces with fascinating expressions. These are called mascarons, which are ornamental faces placed not merely as decoration, but to ward off evil spirits. I lingered and savored the solitude. I had my little lunch here, 2 hard-boiled eggs, some shredded leftover chicken, and the last of the green beans, grape tomatoes, nuts, and of course, my favorite, chocolate. I read one of the books I bought a few days ago, The Little French Bookshop, which was just perfect, set in Paris and is epistolary. My heart swells with how beautiful this day is. Perhaps it was the lack of crowds, the quiet, the plants and flowers, the stunning Belle Epoque greenhouses, like glass cathedrals. But I was enamored of this beautiful garden, a delightful surprise discovery. I will see other lovely spaces in the days to come, but the garden of the greenhouses Vauté would be my favorite special place in Paris. wandered a little more towards the main Bois de Boulogne for next time. Oh, it is so foresty, with lots of little paths into woods and things. I can't wait to go back and explore it properly. I stopped at Lidl on the way home, and boy, was it a huge mistake. Long lines, lots of people. Because I had an unpackaged zucchini, I had to go through a checkers line. I did not want to attempt to input it in the self-checkout. Simple, yes? Oh no, I stood in the wrong line. First, there was something wrong with the machine, a 10-minute delay. 2 disabled people, elderly people, were given priority. 10-minute delay, but I'm not griping about that. I was patient. Then it was my turn, and the girl started checking the person after me's groceries as well, so I had to say no and motioned. The checker was distracted, poor thing, because a commotion happened by the exit where a man on a scooter ran into an elderly man who got bruised. The manager had to sort it out between them, but the checker needed the manager to approve deleting the extra items from my transaction, which took 5 minutes, lots of yelling, but not by me. Then, once it was corrected, I tried to pay by card, but it needed a PIN and the checker was yelling at me, and I think the customer after me too. Oh Lord. I fumbled for some cash and thankfully I was out of there. Once I was out of that place, I had to take a few minutes outside to take a deep breath. The long lines, the people, all the anxiety and exhaustion of everyone in there. I slowly walked home, stopping by Casino to get aubergine, which was not in Lidl, and my favorite chocolate. And because the aubergine was unbagged, so I thought I had to go through a checker. And again, I didn't know how things worked. Balance, madame, balance. The checker pointed to my aubergine. I needed to weigh it first. Everyone behind me groaned and probably cursed. But the checker was still ringing up the man ahead of me and indicated I had time to weigh it. So I dashed to the veggie section, thankfully, which was near the checkout, somehow found aubergine right away in the scale and a little ticket printed out right away. The fat man behind me even smiled when I came back. The person in front of me not even done being rung up yet. You better believe I tore into my chocolate bar as soon as I got out of the store. All the peace and tranquility at the park suddenly spent, and I was now worn down. Not speaking French, not knowing how things work, having to quickly decipher everything on the spot. I returned home so grateful, shutting my front door to the world. All that I had to go through just to buy the ingredients for one dish. Ratatouille. All my skills and attention were going to be devoted to this one dish. This is probably not the traditional way of making ratatouille, but the ones I've had in Paris, although very tasty, were not the versions I wanted to make today. I wanted a dish that retained the vibrant colors of the different vegetables, as well as some firmness of texture, not mushy or indistinct. I was diligent. I sliced, I diced, I minced. Aubergine, zucchini, bell peppers, tomatoes, onions, garlic, carrots. I needed a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, but I was not going to go back outside. I thought of Lidl and started crushing tomatoes with my bare hands in a deep bowl in the sink. There, crushed tomatoes achieved. All my aggression out, I meticulously built my ratatouille layers. I made my own tomato sauce despite having a jar in the cupboard. Oh no, I was going to do this properly. The sauce simmered for a while, but I knew I needed to break down the chunks even more, so I had to do my little mixer thing. Sauce on the walls, of course, but hey, I cleaned it all up. Is a thing of beauty. No matter what I had to go through to get the ingredients, how long it took, it is a swirl of rainbow gorgeousness, a vegetable work of art. Next time I will thicken the sauce with some paste so it is not so watery, but still quite an amazing dish. Just the looks alone, but it is also very tasty. Next was creme brulee, which I actually made early this morning. It is very easy, not that many ingredients, a lot like flan. I just put a dollop of my homemade whipped cream on top. And frankly, it didn't even need that. It was divine by itself. Not too sweet, creamy, silky, and I swooned over it. My goodness, I have not had a bad meal in Paris, neither at home or at a restaurant. Well, I conquered ratatouille and creme brulee. What next? Should I render duck fat for duck confit? Steak frites? Mou? Soufflé?